Hello, everybody, and welcome. Excited to see you all. It's been a minute. Welcome to our What's New in Neos. It's usually in 19 minutes, but I gotta tell you today, this latest update was massive. So we've got a lot to cover. The participants are still coming in. We had over 100 people registered for today, and I already see some of my favorite folks. So happy to have you all. Let's not waste any more time. Let's dive right in. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, bring up our Neo system. We have so much here. I was just doing a quick test run. So as with every new release, the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the question mark to access the support portal. And then this What's New tab right here. Click that, it'll pop out. This is a list of all of our updates, and it always has a link to this great What's New page. So we click this, and this tells us everything that's in this latest update. And we're just going to run through it point by point. But before I do that this time, there's a couple of things I want to call out. You guys have been using the system for about a week, and there's what we refer to as a cheese move. That means that there's something that you are accustomed to being in one place. It is now in someplace else. And whenever that happens, it happens for a good reason, but I always want to make sure to really call that out strongly. So just making sure everybody can see my screen. Everything looks good. Okay. So on the main menu bar, there used to be an add button down here at the bottom. And that's where you could, add an intake, add a party. It was sensitive to where you were in the program. That has moved up here to create. So if you need to create something new, it's right here on this top navigation bar, and it's super easy to use. You click the drop down. I want to create a case, contact, intake, message, text message, which we'll be getting into today, or a time entry. You can do it right from this bar. When we have a case open and you want to create or add something to that case, that is now within the case, and we'll show that to you in a second. All right, so everybody familiar with the create button? Let's go back to our list of what's new right here at the top, Neos Premium Texting. This is a big deal. It's been a massive customer request. Neos, since day one, has had the ability to send text messages. But what we've been doing is we've been kind of hijacking your email. So if you want to send a text message to somebody, it would look up their number and actually send them an email, which is why you would get an email back. This is a premium product, which means you got to sign up for it, and there is a cost associated with it, but I'll show you how it works today. So what we do is we're going to open a case. I'm going to open up my Franklin Nelson case, and the functionality is very similar to begin with to what you've already been using. You've got a phone number in the system. It's got this little text message bubble. So we click the text message bubble and enter our message, or we could use the quick fill. Checking in, I wanted to check in, see how you're feeling today. Are you doing okay? And we'll add to that, how was your doctor's appointment? Can you send an updated photo of your injury? And click send. And that'll go out, hopefully very quickly. And when it's received by the entity, I want to point out here that what's great is with this new functionality, it doesn't matter what carrier your client is using. They could be using AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, Mint Mobile, prepaid, doesn't matter. It's a real text message, so it goes. Doing okay, will need more PT. And let's go ahead and put a picture in here, not vacation photos. Let's find our injury photo here. There we go, and send back. Now, like I said, this is not using your email. So you're not going to get a reply back to your email. You're going to get a reply like you see right here within your Neo system. So you're going to get an alert. It's going to pop the notification tab. It's going to tell you that you got a message, who you got it from, what case it's associated with. I can click right here to go straight to it, or it's going to be in my notifications. So I can always go to my notifications and see my latest incoming text messages. The great thing about this is this keeps you in Neos, and it keeps the communication in Neos. So you're not going to have to go to another platform or email. It's always going to be right here. So where did that message go? Well, it went straight into Notes. So let's go to our Notes tab here. And you guys are probably already familiar. This is a change that's been here for a while, but now you can see all notes, or you can see just like the general notes that I've entered, the emails, the phone calls, and the text messages. So if I go to text messages, I've got one thread, and any back and forth is going to be in a singular thread instead of note by note by note by note by note. Check this out. If I open it, it's a back and forth text message thread. It looks just like it does on your phone. So I can reply right here. Thank you for the update. Please let us know if there's anything else we can do to help. All right. And send. And that goes back to my client. And one of you looked up my phone number and called me to try and disturb the webinar. How dare you? So this goes back and forth. And all of the communication, like I said, is right here. So you noticed, wait a second, there's a photo. Not only did they send me a response, but they sent me a file. So where did that file go? Does it just live here in the text message? Well, yes, you can always view it here in the text message, but it's also automatically uploaded to the Documents tab. So it's right here. It's not categorized because since it came in via text message, we don't know what it is yet, but we can go in here and go ahead and set a type of photo. So there's more to it, but this is the basics of the premium texting package. You have the ability to communicate with your clients via text message from within Neos. There's lots of interesting corners to this, but that's all my favorite functionality within a particular case. You can see the thread back and forth. It automatically posts everything. And if you're using the communication center, you can track all of your text messages across all the cases. So I've got my phone calls, but I've got all my text messages coming and going. All right. Let's keep moving here. Premium texting coming up next. The SharePoint document sync. I'm only going to spend a second on this because it's 109 already. So as you know, all of your documents, all of your files are stored in SharePoint. It's part of your Microsoft 365 scenario. If you, in the past, uploaded documents to Neos, Neos knows what the document is, and it stores it in SharePoint. But if you went around the back end and you put it directly into SharePoint, then Neos has no idea. Somebody went in the back door, so they don't have an idea of, what that file is and what its purpose is. Well, one, don't go around the back. Use Neos as your platform. That's where all the users should be. You should be uploading files directly into Neos. But we did fix it so that if you add files by going around the back, it is going to sync with SharePoint. So if you put something directly into a SharePoint folder, Neos will recognize that that is a new file and list it on the front end as well. But go in the front door. All right. Moving forward, document record linking. So more talk about documents and files. This is pretty cool. So all of you are familiar with medical records because they, every case has some sort of medical record coming and going. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the records request tab. And if you're using a service or you have an in-house staff, all of this is useful regardless of how you're approaching your medical records. I have a medical record entry here for Johns Hopkins Hospital. If I open it, I've got all the record, standard details, the provider name, where they're from, types, date requested, and what have you. But all the way at the bottom, I have a linked records window. And this is pretty cool. What this means is I have the ability to store the record that we have requested right here with the record request. Everything's all lined up. So we can do this in one of two ways. We can upload the document, and we've got all of our options, but starting with a browse, we're going to find it right here in our local computer, and we can enter any more information we want and click save, and it's going to upload the file to this record request. So we have requested the record, we've received the record, and now the record is stored right here. The other way that we can approach this is literally drag and drop. So I'm gonna grab another one here, drop it right in. This is a med record, save. It's gonna upload it again because you can store as many here as you like, and we're good to go. Now, the file itself, let me check my words here for a second. It's not stored with the record. It's stored with all of your other documents appropriately. It is accessible from the record, because if I go over to case docs, look at that. My two files that I just uploaded, they're here ready and waiting for me. But if I'm going through individual records and I want to see specifically the records associated with that request, with that provider, they're here as well. So they're stored in one place. They are accessible from both. Okay. So that is the basics of document record linking. We are at 113. We're doing good. We've still got more to cover. Email addresses and configurable date ranges added to advanced search. Now, advanced search is exactly that. It's advanced. It's not for everybody, but it's one of my favorite parts of the program, because a different name for me for advanced search is your built-in, easy-to-use report writer. So if we go back to Neos and we're going to start a new advanced search, we go to search, we go to advanced search, and what I'm going to search for is actually names. So I can show you both these things at once. So yes, we're going to clear everything out. Now, for those of you that do use advanced search, I'm sure you're familiar with all of the different options here, especially the date ranges, because you can choose, very specific locked in date ranges. But what we've added is rolling date ranges. So if I'm looking for date opened, and we've got the classic equal, greater than, less than, is not blank. We've got all these options, and we can pick specific dates. But what's new and cool is the from. So if we click from, we now have these options for rolling dates. Show me the past 6 months. And what's cool about this is this date that we're looking for here is now not the hard date that you picked, or the date based on when the report was written or the advanced search was created. It's based on the date that it's run. So if I go ahead and run this, it's going to show me all of my names from cases opened within the last 6 months. And if I save this and I run it a month from now, it's going to show me a different 6 months. It's going to update itself every time you run it. And for those of you who get really advanced, you know that all of your dashboards and tiles that you can create on the Today screen, these are based off of advanced searches. So if you want to create dashboards with rolling timeframes, not specific hard dates that you have to go back and update, you can use these new date ranges to create those dashboards, and they will always be the past 6 months as of that moment. Now, so we've got 15 results here. Let's go ahead and check out email addresses. So add criteria. We're going to search again for default email and select the default email address. And I'm just going to choose is not blank. So they have an email address. Show me everybody with a case open date in the last 6 months, and they actually have an email address, run search, and I've got it. I'm down to 5 results. My little demo firm doesn't take a lot of cases. So I've got my 5 results, but I want my email addresses. I'm running a report based on the email address existing, but I don't see it. So we're going to go to add and remove columns. And again, default email address. Click back in here. There we go. So I've got a list of all of my email addresses. Where this is most helpful is for those folks that are trying to use a mass email program. We do have that integration with MailChimp, but if you're using MailChimp in a different way, or you're trying to use a different platform, this is a great way to create any type of advanced search you like and get a giant list of email addresses based on whatever criteria you've chosen. And then you go to export, CSV, and there it is. I've got my CSV file. I can upload that to my email platform, and I'm ready to rock. All right, so these are the big changes to advanced search, where we have these rolling date ranges and email addresses. Definitely check it out. Create some new advanced searches, save them as dashboards and reports. It's really cool stuff. Okay, we are at 117 and we're still going. So stay with me. I'm trying to move as fast as possible. Case budget. Texting is cool. The advanced search stuff is cool. This is my favorite feature of this particular release. I think it's such a smart and wonderful change and improvement to Neos. So for this, we're going to open up a different type of case. So we're going to go to Browse Cases, and we're going to check out our criminal cases, and I'm going to open up this Scott Lang case. Not going to run a timer right now. So what this is about, case budget, is right here in the header. I have a predetermined budget for this case. And for specific case types, that's very appropriate. Maybe how much of a retainer we've been paid, or how much we're willing to lay out before we see some sort of return, or, you know, get some expenses paid back. But it's right here in the header. I can see how much money has been spent on this case so far, and how much of our budget threshold has been filled in. So we've currently spent $3,400 so far on this criminal case, which is 68% of our budget. Now, remember before I told you that the add button wasn't here and that we had create for a lot of options? But when you have a case open, you now have this quick add dropdown right here. And this is where you can add stuff for this specific case. So if I click quick add, I can add a party, a note, a document, a message, time entry, checklist item, special note, any of these options for this case. We're going to enter a time entry. And we're going to choose one of our attorneys. And let's say she spent 4 hours on this case communicating with the client, because they had to explain an awful lot. It's billable at a $200 an hour rate. And the value code is an attorney fee. So this is an $800 session that has just transpired. So we're going to click save. And as you can see, our budget just went from $3,400 to $4,200 spent. It automatically understood a new value entry has been made, and that it's taking up more of our budget. And you'll also notice the color changed, because we have a threshold warning system that lets you know, hey, this one's getting kind of close to our maximum here. So all of this is case type specific, but can be modified in the case itself. I've got this little pencil edit icon here. I click that, and I can see it's enabled for this case. You can include fees or fees and costs. Our budget limit is set at $5,000, and our warning threshold is set at 80%. But let's say, you know, we get some more in, we can bump that budget limit up to $7,000. And now the same $4,200 has been spent, but we're only using up 60% of our new higher budget. All right. So at a glance, you can tell what the financial status of this case is. Now, let's go into the back end for a second for those NEOS administrators that are going to be in charge of making these determinations and setting this up. So we'll go to settings, case types, and we'll go to criminal. So it's right here on the general tab, all the way down at the bottom, where all the new cool stuff goes. So this is case budget, and it has those same options, but this is for all case type. All the cases of this case type. Is case budget turned on? What's the budget limit? What's that warning threshold when it goes from blue to orange? Do you want to include only fees and costs? And do you want to show it in the case header? It can exist, but not be up in the header. But my favorite part is it being in the header. So definitely check this box. Now, if you go into the case type settings and you set this up and you turn this on, it will automatically be activated for all new cases from that point forward. It will not automatically turn on for existing cases because you don't want to set a budget for a case that's already, has a lot of details and is moving forward and things are already happening with it. So let me show you how to do that real quick if you want to turn it on for an existing case. We'll go to our browse cases again. We're going to open up this Wilson Fisk case. This is an existing case. It is a criminal case, but we don't have case budget yet. So if we want to turn it on, we go down to the value tab and we go to funds. And this is where we can track our case budget. And it's as simple as turning it on. We enabled it. We can set whatever budget we want, whatever threshold we want. And you can always modify these here in the header, but you can go to value and funds to make any changes as well. So if that checkbox for display and header is not checked, but you are tracking it, this right here is where it'll be tracked. Okay. That'll do it for case budget 123. You guys are being so patient. I really appreciate it. Let's keep going. Case phases. All right. NEOS and Needles before it has been tracking the phases of a case in a variety of ways, literally for decades now. And many different firms have many different ways of tracking this. So what we've done is improve the functionality, but also streamlined it to give us some cool reporting options in the future. So let's go back to our case type settings. And let's go up to, let's just do auto. So we've got a classic auto here. The first thing you'll notice is under the general tab, you have the option to select a practice area type for this case type, because all of our firms handle multiple different case types, and the different case types can vary widely based on how they need to be handled. So this is an auto accident. Here are my options: personal injury, labor, criminal, immigration, family, insurance. It's personal injury. This is a personal injury case type. So we'll set that, and then we'll go to the labels tab. And you'll notice we've got the phases here. And under case phase display name is the phases that you've built in, the phases that you've put there for all your different case types. It's all still there. It's all still completely customizable. But on the right-hand side is our standardized case phases. And basically what you do is you play a matching game. You can call it whatever you want, but choose the one that closely matches it here on the right. And a lot of times, it'll be very close or exactly the same. So negotiation, litigation, yep, final accounting. So all of those options are already there. Save. But what's cool is we've now expanded the number of phases that you can have. Currently, it's limited at 5. We've doubled that up to 10. And as you can see in my auto, I've got a couple doubles here: investigation and or treatment, demand prep and evaluation, negotiation and settlement. So all I have to do is add a case phase. I do want to add a case phase. And so now I've got a new blank here. And you know what? I'm just going to move everything down. And I'm going to take settlement. I'm going to put it right there. And now this guy can be settlement, this guy can be litigation, and this guy can be final accounting. And now I have a new phase. The phase of a case, what phase the case is in, is determined by your checklist. So that hasn't changed, just calling it out. If you go to primary checklist, you'll see all your checklist items, and each one of them has a phase. And this comes directly from the choices that you make. So when your staff is going down the checklist, whatever checklist item they're on and the phase that that's associated with will be the phase that the case is listed as in. All right. More to come on that in the future. This is kind of laying the foundation, and there's some exciting stuff. But for now, you can put in up to 10 case phases and then adapt your checklists accordingly. 126. All right, Brian, come on. We promised 30 minutes. Let's see what we can do here. So that's case phases. Enhancements. There's a little one, but man, it was bugging me, and it's a personal one, and I love that we've tweaked this. So in the party tab, there was always online accounts. You had to enter an online account, and then you had to choose email or a social media platform. We've pulled email out of online accounts for its own unique listing. So you have phone numbers, you have email addresses, and then yes, you still have online accounts. But as we know, the phone number and the email are the two primary forms of communication. So it saves you a click with every entry, and all of this, is clickable and editable and all of your standard functionality. But we pulled email out, so it's its own thing now. Clickable contact list. As soon as we added the contact list, immediately people wanted it to be clickable. So if you have a case open, you can click show me all the providers, show me all the parties, show me the related contacts. All of these are options, and they're all clickable now. So if you open up the contacts and you need to call Michael O'Brien or text Michael O'Brien, and you've got Ring Central or your phone system integrated, or you have our texting platform, all of these are one-click options. Easy stuff. All right. Standard accident information tab for all case types. It was just one of those things that it had to be user defined, but all users needed it. So we went ahead and created it for you. So if you go into settings, case types, and you choose a case type, and we're still in auto here, and we go to tab setup, there is now a standard accident information tab or incident tab. So all you do is check to make that active, save, and then all of your cases of that case type will have that standard accident information tab ready to go. You don't have to build it. You don't have to set everything up. It's there for you. Easy peasy. All right. Add checklist task from the quick add menu. So I showed you this a little bit, but same concept. We've got the quick add. You don't have to go to the checklist tab. If you're reviewing something, if you're reviewing a note, if you're looking at something in the file and you want to assign a checklist item, quick add, checklist item. And it's going to bring up your checklist options right there. You can jump to a to-do or, let's see, check in with the adjuster or whatever you want, and then assign it, and you're good to go. It's an easy add for the checklist item. Add value and time totals to the customizable case header. So now that the case header, meaning this information up at the top of a case, is fully customizable, man, we're getting carried away. So as you can see, there's some new stuff up here, including total value of the case is listed right in the case header. That is also case type customizable. So we'll go back to our case type settings. We'll go to general, and we've got the header display. So you've got all the options and then what's actually in the display. So I've got total attorney fees, total damages are already in there, but we've got lots of cool new options here. So take a look at this stuff. Total due, settlement amount, total case expenses, total liens, total reduction, adjustments, payments, time track, time billed, on and on and on and on. So if you're a Neos administrator and you want to customize that header to have what you want in it, by all means, there are more options, check them out, but be kind to your users and make sure not to fill this up with way too much stuff, just the stuff that's most important. You do have this drop down to limit it to 2 lines from a view perspective, or show me everything. All right. Notes tab view expandable, another big user request. So I'm coming back into my case here. I'm going to go to my notes. Like I said before, we've got the general, email, phone calls, text messages. Use these tabs at the top. They're so very cool and easy to navigate between. But what we were hearing is that clicking on a note and viewing it on the side, and clicking on another note and viewing it on the side, and clicking on another note and viewing it on the side wasn't a great way to kind of go through the notes, especially if you're trying to jump back and forth between them. So now there's this little caret on the left-hand side. You drop down the caret, it's going to show you the important content of that note. So you can expand the notes to see specifically what you want to see. And it's just as easy as open and close right on that note. Or you can double click like I did and go into the note itself. All right. 132. We're blowing our record here. Let's keep going. Checklist, ability to add a note on the side pane. Now, this is a little niche, but again, it was a user request. So if you come to checklist, and you're assigned the checklist item, and for some reason you need to make a notation in that checklist item about the checklist item itself. If you go to, we got a follow-up call with an adjuster, details, there's now a notes section in here. So if the checklist item was completed, but there was an issue with it, or it can't be completed because the adjuster is being reassigned by the insurance company, or some other issue, you can enter the details of what's happening with this checklist item here. Now, this is not a note in the case. This will not go into the notes tab. This is just a quick notation on this specific checklist item. So if there's something up, your staff can mark it here. And if somebody comes back around and looks at that checklist item, they'll be able to see what's happening with it. Okay. All right. We're coming to the end here. Neos QuickBooks SDK integration update. So in addition to the Microsoft Office 365 integration, I'd say QuickBooks is up there with like our second most important integration that we have. Lots and lots of firms use QuickBooks. So we always need to make sure that these two programs are talking well. There's a new integrator, an update to download. So if you go to the support portal and what's new, and you're looking at this list, you can download it right here at this link, or you can go to support portal, and all of the downloads for our integrations are always right here. So you go to QuickBooks Integrator, and it's going to give you all the instructions on how to install it. The download link is right here. If you're using QuickBooks SDK, when this webinar is done, I want you to log off. I want you to go to this page, and I want you to update to the latest integrator. That's very important to make sure that the systems continue to talk well with each other. All right. What else is new? New integrations. Okay, so I'm not going to go too in-depth with these, but we've got two new integrations, Milestone and Connect. And the integration list continues to grow and grow and grow. So there is a video demo for Connect on here. Both of these have to do with communication, client communication, some text messaging, some automation, some interesting stuff in that area. But come here to this page to check it out. Or reach out to our sales team. Ooh, all right, 35 minutes, improvements and updates, create button added to the top navigation bar. Already covered it. We're good to go. So let's keep going. Case intake header and navigation tabs. So this is part of what we covered already, that you've got this new functionality in the top header. New document side pane. So we didn't show that yet. So let's go to our docs tab in a case. And you guys are familiar with this. You click on the name of the file, it's going to open the file. If you click anywhere else on the row, it's going to open up that side pane. So this is the file that we just uploaded for our linked records. And you'll notice there are some cool fields here. that we can modify, but we now have new ones that we can associate with particular parties, subject, notes associated with this document, send and receive dates if we want to fill those in, the history of the document. Let me find one that's, let's try, there we go. The retainer agreement has multiple versions. So we have these fields. We have the related documents that this document is related to, and we have a history. So if it has multiple versions or edits, we can access all of that right here in the Documents tab. So click that detail pop-out window and explore some of this. There's some very cool stuff here. Okay, nope, not that one. This one. Select row and grid when a user single clicks. Very simple. It was just what I was doing. If I click on a file and the window opens, you can see which file is highlighted. So if I click to this one, I get the details, but I can still see what's highlighted. If I click to this one, I see the details. I can still see what's highlighted. All right. Oh, and that's the end of the list. Ooh, 37 minutes, almost double our normal time. But you guys have been very patient. I really appreciate it. This was a big, big update with a lot of cool stuff. So one last time, if you missed any of this, go to the support portal, click the What's New pop-out, and click this page right here, and it's going to give you the list that I just ran down. For a lot of these, we have training videos that are, going to show you exactly what I showed you today, but they're on demand. That's accessible from the support portal and the Learning Hub. So all of the videos are still in the Learning Hub, or knowledge base articles on all of these new features. It's all there. One last shout out I want to give is to Neos Academy. If you guys haven't been attending those webinars, they're really cool. Eric Hill's doing a new one every month on a different area of the program, and it's a deep dive into that area. And why am I shouting it out now? Because I'm going to join him for the next one. I'm excited. So on April 4th at 12 p.m., we're going to be doing a deep dive on reporting. We're going to be hitting reporting, advanced search, dashboards, all kinds of cool stuff. So if you're interested in that, please join us. All right. I am officially at double our normal time, so I'm going to call it there. Guys, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time, and I hope you really like the new release. So with that, have a good day, and if you need anything at all, please don't hesitate to reach out. Have a good one.